What's good, artists? It's Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com here with another Artist Marketing 911. A very sick Artist Marketing 911. Artists, today we're going to talk about the power of staying consistent. We're going to talk about why you should stay consistent. We're going to talk about how actually staying consistent overpowers your competition. A lot of people think that because we're in a competitive field, the way that you overpower competition is to hit them dead on. And I'm here to tell you that something that's very underutilized when it comes to finding your success and not just making it about competition, but when you decide that you want to stand out from everyone else, merely staying consistent is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of your peers won't do. Consistency is the mother of momentum. Consistency is literally what gets you going. So if you ever think about a basketball player who's shooting jumpers, or like when Steph Curry was going off and hitting threes back to back to back to back, well, that momentum is pretty much the child of consistency. Whether it's consistent work in the gym, whether it's consistently shooting a certain shot, shooting from a certain angle, it applies to you as well as an artist. So say for instance, you're releasing a song a week. Say for instance, you're doing 3 or 4 features a month. Say for instance, you're dropping freestyles every Friday on a YouTube page. All of these things contribute to your momentum. And your momentum is really what's going to get things going. Most artists get pretty discouraged because they never get to that momentum stage. They're always stuck in, okay, how can I get consistent? And that's what makes them feel like, well, nobody's supporting me. The thing is, the reason why most times people are not supporting you or retweeting or even engaging with what you're doing is because you're not consistent enough. They don't see you enough. People are not on social media like the average rapper or the average singer. They're just not on there that consistently. And if they are, they're probably just checking their ads or looking at their favorite celebrities' Twitter. So you got to understand the game. You got to understand that consistency is literally how you stay as visible as some of these celebrity accounts or some of these accounts that people come to rely on. Your consistency is literally what's going to lead to your visibility. Consistency also develops trust from your audience. Your audience trusting you to provide a certain amount of content. Now, if they look at your music as something that's valuable, if they listen to your music and they say, man, your music helps me get through my workouts, your music helps me whenever I'm feeling angry and frustrated, or your music helps me on my lunch breaks, they're going to look for your music on a consistent basis. You know, the way everything is now with instant gratification, you have to make sure that you're consistently delivering what it is that you say you're going to deliver. Can you imagine if Domino's decided today, hey, you know what, we're going to stop delivering pizzas in less than an hour and start delivering them in 2 hours? Can you imagine what would happen to their business? Now, you may be on a smaller scale than a Domino's, but it doesn't mean that your consistency should change anyway. If you got one person waiting on your release and you said that you're going to release it at noon, well, you make sure that you release it at noon. Your consistency is literally what's going to build a trust in you, trust in your brand. It's going to build a trust in the fan who may potentially want to buy your merchandise. Well, if you're inconsistent about your music releases, if you're inconsistent about your word, which is basically what this comes down to is your word. If you're inconsistent about that, what you're going to find is that your fans or your potential fans are going to look at that and say, how can I trust you with my money if you're not even trusting with your own word? So that consistency is very important as well. You may even ask, well, how does consistency work? How do you get yourself in a consistent place where you can build momentum? Well, I think consistency happens as a result of saying yes to a lot of situations. I'm not saying say yes to everything. Use your common sense. But saying yes to things that most times your peers would say absolutely no or say no to, you have to ask yourself, well, why am I saying no? Not why they are saying no. You have to ask yourself, why am I saying no? And am I above doing this? So if it means you rapping at your friend's backyard birthday party, if it means you rapping a verse at a wedding, you have to do whatever you need to do to stay consistent. And consistency is built because you're consistently there, you show up, you show out, and you do what you're supposed to do. So really think about a lot of the things that your peers say no to. And I always go back to this. If you want the success that not many people around you have, you got to do the things that not many people are willing to do. This includes that. Once again, consistency ensures that you will be visible. If you're consistently showing up, whether it's on social media, if you're consistently showing up to a certain show or a certain open mic, there becomes a rapport that's built with you. There's a certain expectation that starts to build because you're constantly there and you're showing up and doing what you're supposed to do. Consistency also gives you an opportunity to be omnipresent. If you stay consistent, you'll be in conversations all the time. You'll be in people's sight all the time. If you're doing features on a regular and you're trying to get your name out there, you will always be part of a greater conversation because of your consistency. Your consistency is making you very visible. It's making you a hot topic. So stay consistent with that. Stay consistent with your music videos. Anything that's going to get you in front of people on a regular basis is a good opportunity for you when you're talking about building up consistency so that you're able to build up your momentum. But just like anything else, with consistency, you got to understand consistency is going to bring some negativity. When you stay consistent, you remind other people of the things that they're inconsistent at. When you stay consistent, you'll get people that come along and they'll look like people who are there to help you. And they'll tell you, man, slow down. Why are you going so hard? Like, why are you doing all of this? Not realizing what your goal is, not realizing the urgency of your goal to get accomplished. They'll tell you these things. And sometimes it comes from people that you actually love. But that doesn't mean that this is something that you need to internalize and actually run with. I highly suggest that you continue to put in your action, that you continue to put in your work. There's a process to this. In the beginning, you'll put this work in. You'll get naysayers. You'll get people who tell you slow down. You'll get people who tell you there's no point in doing this. And you may even feel that way. You may look at your numbers and say, man, well, my numbers are not really changing as fast as I want them to. And that may very well make you be inconsistent after that. But I'm telling you, if you stay the course, if you stay through the storm, you will get to the sunny weather. I promise you that. Because what happens is people are going to look at you first. They're going to look at the work that you're putting in. They're going to say that you're excessive. Then they're going to say that you're stupid. Then you're going to actually be stupid. And then after that, they're going to start saying, man, you're a hard worker. Then they're going to call you knowledgeable. And then they're going to call you a genius. And then they're going to call your cell phone and ask, man, how did you do what you did? Well, you stay consistent. You built your momentum. You stay consistent enough so that momentum will come your way. I'm telling you, you'll be surprised at the people that you would never think would tell you to slow down, or the people that pose as people that love you and will tell you, oh, slow down, don't do that, oh, don't do this. You have to look at the things that they have accomplished and ask yourself, is that the success that you want? You have to make sure that you keep in the front of your mind that you have a plan, that you have a goal, and it will get accomplished by any means necessary. However, on the flip side of that, consistency does have an ugly side. If you're consistently doing the wrong thing, then you're definitely going to have an issue. If you're consistently putting just the same tweets out or the same Facebook updates, then that's not going to have any growth. You have to make sure that you stay creative in your presentation. You have to make sure that you stay creative in the things that you do tell. So if you're telling a consistent story, maybe it's about your album, tell about different things about your album. If it's about a song, tell about different aspects of your song. Talk about the recording process. Talk about the people that you would have liked to have on the song. Talk about how the beat was made. Talk about how the beat was found. Talk about the things that are in your life that contribute to why you are naming the song and what you're naming it. Just think of other stories that tell about the same exact thing. You're still talking about music. Still talking about your song or your album release, but just tell it in different ways. Vary your approach. And I'm telling you, it's going to require a little bit of creativity to do that. It's going to require a lot of patience. You got to be able to look at low numbers and look at those with all kind of conviction in your heart and know, you know what, just because these numbers are low now does not mean it's going to always be like that. You must remind yourself, if you stay consistent and you stay consistently presenting fresh ways or fresh perspectives on the same story, that these things will change. You have to understand, most times in marketing, people have to see something up to 7 times before they make a buying decision. So if you can find at least 7 different ways to tell your story and be there on a consistent basis, you're going to start seeing things happen. You're going to start seeing people tuning into your music for streaming or purchasing your music or purchasing your merchandise. You just have to stay in front of their eyes on a consistent basis and tell different stories. Tell it in different ways, present it in different ways, change the color schemes of your flyers, change different things that are going to make people feel like it's something new, but then they're reminded, oh, that is something that I meant to go check out. But just stay consistent and stay patient with the low numbers. In conclusion, in a world full of people who need instant gratification, the person that stays the course, the person that is patient with the process, the person that is willing to see their goals all the way to the end without the approval of their peers, without the approval of anybody else except for themselves. The person that stays the course will ultimately find success. You just have to make sure that you consistently stay up, have your face visible, try your best to be omnipresent. And what you'll find is with consistency comes momentum. And when that momentum starts going, you'll find more opportunities. With more opportunities, you start to find that you're omnipresent. You're everywhere. People can't get enough of you. You are everywhere. And I'm not telling you to scale down your expectations and scale down where you ultimately want to be. I'm just saying look at those numbers that you have right there and figure out ways to maximize the small, and then you'll appreciate as the numbers start to climb. You'll really appreciate where you came from. These are my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts. This has been another Artist Marketing 911, Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com. I need to consistently take care of my damn self.
Play this every morning when you wake up. Oh, gosh told me not to sing on this, but I promise you, I feel like mystical. Hey, come on, let me get this.
Curtis King with 2 S's, Beats.com. Curtis King with 2 S's, Beats.com.